Previously on Yu-Gi-Oh!
At least we won, right? Let's get you caught up. In case you missed the first video, I'm currently playing through what I'm calling a Sol-Locke. It's essentially a hardcore Nuzlocke that spans all of the mainline entries, and the Pokemon I finish each game with are banned in future titles. Outside of the final battle in Red, we had an incredibly stellar performance for our first leg of this marathon. I'm hopeful that we can improve on things this time around as we enter Pokémon Blue. I go ahead and name myself Sol 2 and our rival Blue 2 as we get the early setup done. I match the mascot again and pick a Squirtle that I name Shell-Shock. Getting straight into our first battle, Bulbasaur spams Growl and only switches to Tackle once we've dropped it to below half. It ends up making up the difference as our weakened Tackles take it out with only 9 HP to spare. Close, but the win here was a given. We run our errand in record time, and with the purchase of Pokeballs, the run is officially on. Our first catch is once again a Route 1 Rattata, this time named Joey. On Route 2, we snag a Pidgey named Mach. On Route 22, we find and catch a Nidoran and name her Elizabeth. One quick grinding session later and Shell-Shock reaches level 8 with everyone else hitting level 9. We meet up with Blue on Route 22 and get right into it. Joey uses Tail Whip while Pidgey counters with Sand Attack. 2 quick attacks finish it off easily. Up next is Bulbasaur. I use Tail Whip, but the sand from earlier causes Tackle and Quick Attack to miss. I pivot into Elizabeth and Growl, but we're stuck with Leech Seed. I switch to Mach and get some damage in until we're seeded again. I continuously switch to shed the Leech Seed spam until Elizabeth is able to come in and finish things off with Scratch. That was probably unnecessary, but Deathless is the name of the game, and I'm playing to win. One healing later, and we're taking on Viridian Forest. Our encounter here ends up being a Metapod again, which we kill with a crit Tackle. Oh well. I head to the gym straight out of the forest to start the grind up to the cap. Brock doesn't stand a chance with Shell-Shock's water typing, and the battle goes exactly how you'd expect. Bubble one-shots Geodude, we level up to 15, learn Water Gun, and use it to one-shot Onix after it uses Bide. Shell-Shock and Elizabeth both evolve into Wartortle and Nidorina respectively on Route 3, and we kill our potential encounter here as well, a Jigglypuff. Grinding to level 14 before a route with potential level 3 encounters probably wasn't the best idea. In Mount Moon at least, we're able to catch a Zubat and name them Fufu, a callback to Sagwa. Anybody ever watch Sagwa? We find a Moonstone and I use it immediately, getting a Nidoqueen before our second badge. This seems balanced. So balanced that I use it to challenge our favorite Rocket Grunt. Raticate ends up proving to be too much for even Nidoqueen, so I switch to our Mega Punching Shell-Shock to take it out. Thankfully, this is the last time we'll ever be harassed by this iteration of Grunt, as he gets nerfed in future titles. The rest of the cave is a cakewalk and we're out to Route 4. We catch our encounter here, a Sandshrew named Spike. Mach evolves into Pidgeotto after some very brief training, and I decide to take on Blue. The Pidgeotto mirror match ends in our favor with some gusts and quick attacks. Joey takes out Blue's Abra and Rattata with Hyper Fang, and deals good damage to Bulbasaur before Elizabeth finishes things off. The crew makes short work of the Nugget Bridge trainers, and we catch our Route 25 encounter, a Bellsprout that I named James. James is a callback to the Blue Run, a Bellsprout that I used to defeat Lance's Dragonite by exploiting the Spaghetti Code. I deposit Spike in favor of James here, hoping to take a future Victory Belt to the Pokemon League this time around. James gets some training in to catch up to the other mainstays, and we catch our Route 24 encounter, a Caterpie I nicknamed Butters. Look, I really like the name, okay? We continue on to Bill's house, defeating the trainers without issue. Joey evolves into Eradicate, and like last time, we get the SS ticket for helping Bill. I bring Butters with me and switch train it to evolve it quickly, thinking I may use Butterfree this go around. Once it evolves into Metapod and then Butterfree, the whole team trains up to take Misty on. James evolves into a Weepinbell during the grind, and will be the anchor for our battle against Misty. On turn 1, James uses Growth, while Misty uses an X-Defend. Vine Whip one-shots Staryu, and Starmie is taken out with 3 Vine Whips, dropping us to 28 with 2 tackles, one of them featuring our favorite random damage amp. With badge number 2, we make a beeline for the Grunt with the Dig TM. Butters and Joey crush the Grunt, and we speed along to Vermilion City. On Route 5, we catch a Meowth and name it Nyan. On Route 6, we have no valid encounters again without a rod, so we defeat the trainers and carry on. The team gains good XP on the SSN, and we challenge Blue again. We start with another Pidgeotto mirror match, but Mach is a few levels stronger, so the bout is ended with 2 gusts. Elizabeth takes Raticate out with a combination of Water Gun, Poison Sting, and Bubble Beam for no reason other than that I wanted to. Blue's Kadabra comes out looking for blood and almost kills Elizabeth with a crit Confusion after taking half from scratch. I switch to Shell Shock and let my heart rate come to rest as I finally KO with Mega Punch. When Ivysaur comes out, I pivot into Butters and clean up with Confusion. I decide to deposit Mach and bring in Spike to learn Cut. Neither of these two are going to be mainstays, so I don't mind making this switch here, at least until we find our final 6. Mach wasn't going to have much fun in the Electric Gym anyway. The Ground Poison Elizabeth, on the other hand, is going to be the core of this gym battle, but I teach Shell Shock Dig, knowing that the coverage will be helpful in case of an emergency. Once everyone's reached the level cap, I fiddle with the trash cans and open the doors up to Surge. I end up leading with Shell Shock, looking to keep Elizabeth fresh for the Ace Raichu. After taking a Screech and Surge using an X-Speed, Voltorb goes down to Dig. Pikachu is also one-shot by Dig. I switch Elizabeth in on Raichu and use Body Slam, Water Gun, and Bubble Beam while Raichu growls for its life. That battle was an absolute wash. Since we reached the cap without battling them, the team trains on Route 11 and we catch a Drowsy and name it Pendulum. We also kill our Diglett cave encounter, or more accurately, it kills itself. Like clockwork, we secure the Flash HM, the Old Amber, and head to the Rock Tunnel. We have no valid encounter for Route 9, but before entering the cave, we find and catch our Route 10 encounter, a Voltorb named Boom. Joey trades places with Boom, as I think Raticate will have its time to shine in the future. Not sure about Boom being a mainstay yet though. Nevertheless, Boom trains to catch up and also learns Flash, meaning we won't be struggling in the darkness of Rock Tunnel. Let's be honest though, I have the route memorized at this point. We have a much better time traversing the tunnel this go around with a more varied team composition, and catch Quads the Machop along the way. Once we get to Lavender Town, we challenge Blue in Pokemon Tower. Boom wrecks Pidgeotto with Thunderbolt, but just barely misses the OHKO. A second Bolt takes it out after a Gust. The imposing Gyarados comes out and goes down to the quad-effective Thunderbolt. Growlithe is up next and goes down to 2 more Thunderbolts, failing a Roar in between. Kadabra takes 2 bolts and barely hangs on after a failed teleport. It uses Disable on the Sonic Boom I planned on using, so I end up going back to Old Reliable to finish it off. I switch into Butters to deal with Ivysaur and get poisoned. I hit with Confusion and tank a Vine Whip. A second Confusion crits, but misses the KO. Vine Whip hits for nothing again, and a final Confusion finishes the job. Boom popped off in that battle. No explosion necessary. The team is already dangerously close to the level cap, so there isn't much training required. We head to Route 8, catch a Vulpix and name them Kurama. With this Vulpix capture, we have no valid encounter on Route 7. I decide to skip past Celadon for now and go to Route 16 where we catch Clarence the Doduo. I then head to the department store and pick up the Thirsty Kids TMs. Ice Beam is immediately taught to Shell Shock and Elizabeth gets Rock Slide. I also grab a Firestone and a Leaf Stone. I temporarily box Boom and Elizabeth for Clarence and Kurama to join and catch up since the former are practically at the cap right now anyway. Clarence learns Fly and Tri Attack, Kurama learns Body Slam, and their training begins. Spike gets us into the Celadon gym with Cut, and Clarence makes quick work of the trainers. After this, we give a gate guard some water and head back to the trainers of Route 8 for more training. Shell Shock and James end up hitting the level cap, so Boom and Elizabeth come back out in their place as training continues. Once everyone, except Butters, reaches the cap, I decide to challenge Erica with Shell Shock, Elizabeth, Butters, Kurama, Clarence, and Spike tagging along solely for Cut. In hindsight, I should have boxed Spike and brought the 6th mainstay James, since it could learn Cut and it got to chill instead of being present and in danger along with the rest of the gang. I'm giving myself a pass this time because neither Spike nor James would see any action in a battle against Erica anyway. Between Clarence and Kurama, plus Shell Shock packing Ice Beam for emergency firepower, Erica is looking to be a cakewalk. Clarence leads against Victreebel and nearly one-shots with Fly. Victreebel's wrap crits, so I pivot into Butters who dodges Poison Powder and picks up the KO with Confusion. I switch Kurama in to deal with the Tangela who chips away at us with Bind. Once free, Ember does half, but Bind resumes. Ember picks up the KO once it ends. Vileplume is up next and I go for Confuse Ray. Vileplume manages to hit Sleep Powder, so I switch into Butters. Butters is poisoned, but we start hitting with Confusion. Vileplume hits itself in Confusion twice while we knock it down. It snaps out of it and uses Mega Drain before a final Confusion nets us the 4th badge. After mulling it over, I decide that instead of Butters, Boom will be the 6th mainstay of the run. Boom had an amazing showing against Blue despite barely being on the team till then, and Butters will have many chances to appear going forward, only getting better as newer moves and abilities open things up. I deposit Spike and Butters and bring James and Boom out. This is our final 6, and they're locked in. The next item on our to-do list is to grab that Sylph Scope again. We make it to Giovanni with no trouble and challenge him. Shell Shock drowns Onyx with Water Gun and does the same to Rhyhorn. Kangaskhan comes out, locks into Rage, and we do just under half with Ice Beam. A second Ice Beam does good damage, but the attack boosts on Rage force me to switch into Elizabeth, who finishes with Body Slam, after eating a crit Rage. Before leaving, we take on the final grunt in the joint and Boom evolves into Electrode. Before going back to Pokemon Tower, I take Clarence to the Fighting Dojo in Saffron City for some training. Clarence evolves into Dodrio and makes short work of the fighting types with a very powerful Drill Peck. With Dig, Shellshock blitzes through the channelers as we climb the tower and eventually help Mr. Fuji. We grab our Pokeflute and move on, heading to Route 12 to take on the massive gauntlet of trainers leading up to Fuchsia. When we encounter the Snorlax, I use James to lock it down with Wrap until we're able to catch it. Chonk is once again going to live in the box as a contingency plan in case things go south. The team continues to build their strength up as we defeat the trainers on routes 12 to 15. Shellshock evolves into Blastoise, realizing its full potential. We make a quick pit stop to heal once we reach Fuchsia City, and then get the Safari Zone out of the way, grabbing the Gold Teeth and Surf, which is taught to Shellshock. We also pick up the TM for Skull Bash, and teach it to Boom, because a sentient ball headbutting you with its entire body is a funny visual. The team takes on the gym trainers in Fuchsia, and then we move on to Cycling Road, killing the Snorlax at the top and working our way back down to Fuchsia. Still not close to the 43 level cap, we head to Saffron to clear Team Rocket out of the Sylph building. With the mighty defenses of Shellshock, not even self-destruct is a concern as we breeze through the floors of the building. Eventually, James reaches level 38 and learns Razor Leaf. With this, I finally use the Leaf Stone and evolve James into Victory Bell. Kurama learns Fire Spin upon reaching level 42, so it too gets to use its stone and evolves into Ninetales. Elizabeth gets to learn Earthquake from the TM we find, and the team is all in their final forms. The rest of the Sylph building is quickly cleansed ahead of a battle with Blue. Boom's Thunderbolt again just misses the KO on Pidgeot, so we pick it up on the second after taking a crit Quick Attack. Gyarados is sent out and gets bolted, and we switch into Shell Shock once Growlithe comes out. Takedown misses, so we take it out with Surf. Alakazam is up next and uses Disable on the Mega Punch we planned on using. The odds of that happening twice is insane to me. Confusion does moderate damage and we answer with Dig. Dig nearly one-shots on the resurface. Alakazam tries Disable again, which fails, so we clean up with Surf. Finally, Venusaur is sent out. The freshly evolved Kurama answers the call, taking the crit Razor Leaf. We miss Fire Spin and get poisoned. Fire Spin works the second time and we lock Venusaur down, slowly getting chipped by poison in the process. A final Body Slam ends Venusaur once the Fire Spin wears off, and Blue is defeated. This team seems much better suited to handle all of Blue's threats, compared to the weak spots we had in Red. We rest up and head into the office to challenge Giovanni again. James sets up Growth while Nidorino uses Poison Sting. After 2, Razor Leaf does half with a crit. James gets one last Growth off and still misses the KO with another crit Razor Leaf. Acid finishes Nidorino off. Kangaskhan drops us to 48 with Bite, but Mega Drain nearly one-shots and offsets the damage. After taking Comet Punch, Acid cleans up. Rhyhorn fully heals us after going down to Mega Drain, and Nidoqueen is finally up. Razor Leaf does big damage, and a second one ends the battle. Team Rocket is gone, so we head into the Saffron Gym and take on the trainers. With all of our resources officially exhausted, the team rounds off their levels near Fuchsia before we finally reach the cap and challenge Koga. Packing Earthquake, Elizabeth is the only answer for the ninja. Earthquake takes Coughing out in one shot. Muck also falls to Earthquake. A second Coughing feels the Quake and the Ace Wheezing is sent out. Earthquake just barely misses the KO, and Koga brilliantly uses Self-Destruct, handing us the badge while he's at it. It's as if he knew the stakes of this run and was hoping to take one of our members out along with him. Wasting no time, we fly to Saffron and challenge Sabrina. I lead with Clarence, hoping the high speed and attack is enough to overwhelm her. Drill Peck takes Kadabra out in one shot. Mr. Mime goes down the same way. Venomoth is felled easily and Alakazam is sent out, dying in one shot as well. Between the Dojo Crush and the annihilation of Sabrina, Clarence legally owns Saffron City now. The team continues to grow as we head to Cinnabar Island and subsequently clear the Pokemon Mansion. Everyone is still a couple levels shy of the cap, so we train. The routes leading to Seafoam act as James and Boom's training grounds, and everyone else works in the mansion. Once we reach the cap, we head for Blaine. Shell Shock takes the lead and proceeds to rinse Growlithe, Ponyta, Rapidash, and Arcanine with one Surf each. All that remains is Giovanni. After taking out the gym trainers, the team trains to the cap in the mansion in Seafoam. Giovanni isn't ready for the tidal wave. Shell Shock grabs the first kill with Surf against Rhyhorn. Dugtrio goes down next. Nidoqueen can't take it either, and Nidoking follows suit. Rhydon meets the same fate, and we finally have all 8 badges again. Before heading to Victory Road, Blue squares up one more time. Boom finally gets the OHKO with Thunderbolt on Pidgeot, and Rhyhorn follows it up. James avoids the Horn Drill and OHKOs with Razor Leaf. Gyarados uses Dragon Rage on Boom, and then goes down to the Bolt. Growlithe and Shell Shock face off, and Surf nabs the kill after Leer fails. Alakazam sets up Reflect, and takes Mega Punch well as a result. Psychic then does nearly half, and we do similar damage with Surf. I switch into Kurama to avoid a crit death, and get crit by Psychic on the switch. I saw the future and avoided it. It is now canon that I am a seer, 1% of the time. Clarence comes out next and gets a free kill with Drill Peck since Alakazam tries Reflect again. Drill Peck then just barely misses the OHKO on Venusaur. We resist the Vine Whip and finish the battle with Tri-Attack. Even with the more balanced team spread, Alakazam can still bulldoze us if we aren't lucky. Noted. We head through Victory Road and then train up to the level cap of 60. We make some minor changes to movesets. Clarence learns Rest, for example, and we're ready to take the Elite Four on for the second time. Going in Deathless again, this is starting to feel reminiscent of the Red Run. Let's hope we don't crash and burn this time. First up, Lorelei. The plan here is to set up Growth and heal the damage we take with Mega Drain and then hopefully sweep. After one Growth, we're crit by Aurora Beam. Welp. Mega Drain also crits, heals us up, and thankfully doesn't KO. Dugong goes for Rest, so we're able to set up 2 more Growth for free. We go for a 4th on the turn Dugong wakes up and uses Aurora Beam. This time we take it well and clean up with Mega Drain. Razor Leaf is a clean OHKO on Cloyster. Slowbro's next, also downed by Razor Leaf. Jinx manages to live a crit Razor Leaf, but Growth offsets the danger of the Ice Punch that follows. Acid finishes it off. Lorelei's Ace Lapras is also able to live the +4 crit Razor Leaf. Lorelei uses a Super Potion and our second Razor Leaf misses. Blizzard then connects and freezes James. That's basically a death sentence in this gen. I switch to Shell Shock and finish the battle with Submission. Shell Shock is our opener against Bruno. I remember the Onyx lead this time. Go me! Surf is an obvious one-shot. I switch into Clarence when Hitmonchan is sent out. It doesn't do much with Mega Punch and quickly falls to Drill Peck. Hitmonlee is dealt with just as easily. I use James to clear the second Onyx, using Mega Drain to heal any damage taken. Clarence makes his return to deal with Machamp, who uses Leer. Drill Peck finishes things right after, and that's 2 down. Elizabeth is primed and ready to sweep Agatha. Earthquake is a quick kill on the lead Gengar. Golbat avoids the Rock Slide but misses its Supersonic as well. Rock Slide doesn't KO the second time around, and we end up hitting ourselves after being confused with Supersonic. Golbat's Haze clears the condition, and we're able to KO with Rock Slide. Still don't get why this happens. Does anybody know? Haunter is free with Earthquake, and so is Arbok. The Ace Gengar manages to get a Nightshade in before Earthquake knocks it out, and Agatha is ultimately defeated. Boom is the lead to deal with Lance's Gyarados, and Thunderbolt does its usual thing. When Dragonair comes out, I switch into Shell Shock, who shrugs the Slam off. Ice Beam gets the KO right after. The second Dragonair is also beamed, and Aerodactyl uses Takedown before falling to Surf. Dragonite then gets OHKO'd by Ice Beam, and we find ourselves once again staring down the champion with no deaths on our end. Boom vs Pidgeot is the matchup to start again. Thunderbolt is a clean one-shot, and Alakazam is up next. Boom finally gets to make use of Light Screen, and we take Psychic really well. Our special drops though. I try to use Flash to get a clean switch into Clarence, but we miss, and Psybeam crits and kills Boom. Bruh. That was my Gyarados answer! I won't let this rattle me like last time though. Clarence comes in and avenges its fallen friend with Drill Peck. Rhydon is sent out, so I switch into James. It uses Leer, and I go for Mega Drain, knocking it out. Gyarados is up. Boom always dealt with it effortlessly, so I'm at a bit of a loss. I choose Elizabeth as she's the only one with super effective coverage, but Hydro Pump nearly one-shots us. That was a massive misplay. I said I wouldn't do this. I decide to pivot to Shell Shock, who takes a Hyper Beam like a champ. I use Ice Beam, and to my surprise, it's super effective. Not only that, it freezes. With Gyarados frozen, I whittle away at it with Ice Beam until Blue uses a full restore. Ice Beam crits, no freeze, and we take another Hyper Beam. I use Ice Beam twice as it needs to recharge and I don't get the kill. Expecting to go down here, Gyarados instead uses Leer. Throwing for content again, I see. I get to finish it off with one last Ice Beam. When Arcanine comes out, I'm more focused on keeping Shell Shock alive than on the obvious advantage we have. I decide to switch into Kurama and Arcanine tries to use Roar. It fails and I use Toxic. It fails Roar again, so I lock it down with Fire Spin. Fire Spin and Toxic Loop, which results in a quick and merciless death. Flamethrower almost one-shots Venusaur, and Blue immediately heals. Flamethrower misses out again, and we tank Razor Leaf. One last Flamethrower finishes Blue off for good. While the performance here was much better compared to last time, I am super salty that we got robbed of the perfect run. The special drop and crit Psybeam on Boom were the only reason that death occurred at all. But I guess that was a result of me trying to make a switch in safer than it needed to be, as we already had the light screen up. We'll just have to learn from this and proceed into yellow with even better strats. The Squirtle, Female Nidoran, Bellsprout, Voltorb, Vulpix, and Doduo lines are all now banned. On to the next.